Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of the GhettoRig podcast. My name is Eddie. To my left, we have my co-host Jay making the dumb faces, and behind the camera, Miggy controlling all the buttons.
Woo, clap,
So
clap.
shout out to our
officials.
officials.
I got the claps.
You had the clap set up. There you
Yeah.
go. Shout out to our official sponsors: UFC Gym Largo and Pinellas Park and Vitality Wellness Centers. Links are in the description. Go check those things out, guys. Last week we were not in the studio all week due to some technical difficulties.
Actual technical difficulties.
Yeah, shout out to T-Mobile Fiber, you fucks. I didn't have internet from Tuesday to Friday afternoon.
Or they can be a sponsor and then we won't say what we have to say about them.
No,
You
they
know
can
what
get
I'm
a
saying?
dick.
No, they're still gonna get it.
Yeah, they can get it. They can fucking
They still
get these
get it?
hands, bro.
Hell yeah, we don't sell out.
No, fuck that. They were on some dumb shit. Y'all want to hear this? Have you
Yeah,
heard
we
this
want to
story?
hear this. Everybody else want to hear this.
They were on some dumb shit. So, basically, something happened with their system when they attempted to charge our card on the 22nd of May, right? It's partially my fault, but not really. They only send me like an email letting me know your card hasn't gone through. Update it within this time period. Okay. I didn't fucking. I think I saw like a T-Mobile. I think I remember seeing like a
And most
T-Mobile
of that
email.
shit goes into like the junk folder because it's like, you know.
I remember seeing like a T-Mobile email come through, but I didn't know what the fuck it was. I probably just didn't pay attention. And then I get another email one day, a week later, saying your service has been suspended and turned off for if you do not update your payment method to get this resolved within like June 7th. They told me, right? They gave me a decent amount of time to update the payment method. When I saw that email, I ended up actually like seeing the full thing, and I went in and I attempted to update it. I grabbed my mom's card, boom, go in, and every time I put the card information in, it's giving me an error, right? I hit the submit, it loads, and then it goes, did not work, try again later, kind of error, right? Okay. Try over and over and over and over and over, different cards, not fucking working. So I get to the point where I call them, or actually, no. First, I went into the website and did the little chat box. This motherfucker tells me, oh, right now we're doing a transfer between billing systems, moving over the T-Fiber billing system to the actual T-Mobile one. So it's all in one place and this and that. I'm like, why the fuck didn't y'all start that way? What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, system will be down until tomorrow. This was on Tuesday. What the fuck? So you can't do nothing. No, sir, we can't do nothing. I was like, can you at least like temporarily like turn on my service? Like I need fucking internet. Like I'm ready. I have my card information. Oh, we don't take card information on the phone. Everything is self-service.
Fine, but at least turn my shit on.
Turn
'cause
my
it's your
shit
own
on.
Damn thing.
Oh no, we're under a prepaid billing system currently, and we have no option to turn on your service.
And that's probably why they're migrating the systems.
They
probably.
did migrate over to non-prepaid, yeah. So, then I said, fuck that. I was like, let me actually call someone, right? The first person I called was a fucking idiot. I couldn't understand what they were
Clueless.
saying. Yeah, clueless. Like, didn't even have any idea what I was saying, let alone I could understand what they were saying. So I decided to hang up and call again 30 minutes later. Hopefully, the gamble, I can get a different
Hopefully
version.
it's not Pakistan.
Yeah, it was India, actually.
India.
But
They're busy.
so I called another time, the second time that day, and I got a fucking American.
Clap, clap, clap,
Yeah.
clap, clap.
It sounded so racist right there.
I can't use my soundboard because you guys don't have headphones. So if I just
I can hear it. I can kind of hear it.
Yeah, we
coming
hear it.
through
like if I
yeah.
do this one, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Hey yo, yeah.
I was gonna do that one. It's like no point. You guys can't hear it. Sometimes you guys are speaking so loud that it just goes by.
So-
It's like why?
When I called the second time, I got me a good old fashioned North and Western American.
Yeah. But sometimes with those good old
So,
fashioned
no, he was
country boys, I can't understand.
Nah, he wasn't from the
Sometimes I
country.
want to go back to Pakistan because
he
I
was-
understand that one better.
He wasn't from the country. He was definitely like a northern, unless he was from Florida, but he didn't have a South accent, you know. Anyways, I talked to the guy. He tells me, sir, I'm sorry, but the information you have received is incorrect. Our system actually isn't going down until tomorrow. So let's try and get this situation resolved right now.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have to wait until the system passes through tomorrow and then having to wait another day until Thursday, which is what ended up happening. But he's like, all right, let me get this fixed now. Then he starts digging and he realizes that there's a shit ton of other clients having the same issue. It wasn't my card, the issue when it didn't charge. It wasn't my card when we tried to update it that it didn't charge. Then we ended up figuring out every time we attempted to update the billing info, it was charging our cards $60 every time. 'Cause that's what the bill is, right? So my mom had been charged 6 times.
Oh shit.
Yeah. By the end of the day, the bank, I think, realized and put it all back. Like, literally deleted the transactions. My card had been charged. I had charges a total of 5. 3 on one card, 2 on another. Because I was trying multiple cards. I wanted my fucking internet back. And then didn't work. The guy's trying to get the system to fix the issue resolved. He tells me my guys are working on it right now. They should have it resolved. And if they don't have it resolved, sadly, it won't be resolved tomorrow. It'll have to wait till Thursday. Didn't get resolved. I waited Wednesday. I called on Wednesday just to like see if like, you know, whatever. You know, I had to try. Nothing. System was down all day. The funny part is after that day I called, I got that American dude. When I called on Wednesday, I got that American dude. When I called on Thursday, I got that American dude. It was perfect. And he was super nice. And it was perfect not having to explain the story every fucking time.
Bro,
he'd answer. He'd go.
I wonder whether they got like AI.
No,
like,
they didn't.
connect.
Sometimes I had to ask. Like, yo, I'm being for real. Like, this guy named Brian has already been helping me like multiple times. He understands the whole story. Like, he's the one writing all the notes that you see right now. He's like, oh yeah, I see his name is Brian. I say, get me connected to Brian. Figure out a way.
Okay.
Because it's just. But that was helpful. Being able to get to the same person. I think you should leave a review. Over. Like, I told him. I said, send me an email. I will leave you a review. Like, I understand that this isn't your exact fault. This is your guys' system that fucked me over. Right, but it's not your fault, and you were very helpful. Like and he said, "Oh, they send reviews randomly. When you get one, just keep an eye out for it," which is stupid. They should allow, like most companies, you tell them that, and like, "Yeah, I'm gonna send you an email right now to put a review." I guess they don't do that, which is pretty stupid. But when I called again on Thursday, he's like, "Okay, system's back up, system's transferred over. You'll have internet by the time you're home," because he knew I got home at 5 o'clock. I got off. Motherfucker, I was on my way home, check that shit. Nothing. I had to call again and ask for Brian all over again, bro. And then
Brian, I'm disappointed.
I even told him at one point, I said, Brian, I was actually hoping I'd get a different employee so I could bother them and not have to annoy you anymore. And he starts laughing, and then he goes, no, I'm happy it's me, so you don't have to like re-explain and get details mixed and all that stuff. Motherfucker, they didn't fix it on Thursday either. He's like, yeah, the guys are working on it right now, like, as we speak, but they're trying to figure out what's going on because multiple people are having the same issue. They didn't figure it out Thursday. Friday, they ended up just sending a guy out here. And, bro, my dad told me that all he did was replace, like, the fucking, like, the power supply cable or some shit like that, and it fucking worked. I don't know. He told me he replaced, like, some dumb shit that they were no longer using. I don't know, because this box is still the same.
Yeah.
You know, this box is still the same. I don't think they changed anything outside.
Maybe just like a cable that they replaced.
I think it was something stupid like a cable, my dad said. Because what happened was on Thursday, they reactivated my account. They charged my account and everything. Or they didn't charge it, but the update payment method worked. I got a month free out of all this, which is good. But the guy's like, all right, your service has been turned back on. Attempt everything. Wouldn't work. And so he's like, damn, okay. I had to end up making like a whole new T-Fiber account, like canceling the original one, making a new one with a different email. Dude, that shit was so annoying. Like, what the fuck? That shit was. My dad calls me. He goes, you know why there ain't no internet in this house? I go, I actually do. And I start explaining it to him, and he starts yelling at me, and I go, Hey, I'm not happy about this, bro. Like, this isn't something that
You understand I haven't been able to play my games in so long?
No, I still get to play.
Yeah?
Yeah, because of the sim racing, I don't need internet. Yeah.
Like, I was kind of dealing with a similar issue with my insurance today, with my medicine, right? And what they're doing is come July, they're going to cancel that medicine and they're going to bring an alternative. Okay. But the alternative is not as good, right? This medicine is like $2,000 for a month's supply, and because of my insurance, I'm only paying $30.
Gotcha.
Which is great, right? But so and the way they do it in 3 months increments, so they can put the script in for 3 months only, and then after 3 months you get re-up, right? So my 3 months expired on June 2nd, so I can re-up for 3 months up, right? Before I was doing 1 month at a time, but since they were gonna change it and come August, they don't have this anymore. Right, so I was like, well, shit, let's put it in for 3 months right away. I get all 3 months supply, keep it in my fridge.
Is that the max you can do? 3 months?
That's the max I can do. So I called the lady. call my the pharmacy, and the pharmacy is like, well, they're kicking it back and not giving me a reason why. That was July 2nd. That's when it reset. So July 3rd, you can order. I was like, all right, there's something going on. I was like, insurance playing fucking games. You know what I mean? Called the insurance company. She's like, oh, yeah, sir, I can see it. I can push it through. Blah, blah. I was like, wait. Before you do that, like, and before I said that, she already pushed it through for 1 month. I was like, listen, the whole idea with me, I was calling you to push it for 3 months, not for a month. It's like, well, let me try to push it for the next 2 months. She pushes it for the next 2 months. It goes through, but it's like, oh, you're not going to be able to get it till July. I was like, listen, the whole idea of me calling in June was so I don't have to call in July.
Yeah.
In July, that's like completely different.
Different, yeah.
Well, no, it's just saying that you can't get. I was like, listen, it's not saying that. I know I already spoke to several people. The reason I'm doing this is because I've gathered the information before. This is why I'm calling you now. She's like, well, let me go to my supervisor. And then she goes through, reads through everything. She's like, well, this is not saying anything. Blah. I was like, yeah, because you can do it. That's why it's not saying anything. If it would have said clearly, like, you can't do it.
I love that shit. Has that shit ever happened to you in person when you have a prior conversation with, like, a manager or something like that, and then you go and an employee tries telling you, no, you can't do that? It's like, motherfucker, step around the counter real quick, bro.
like just get away. You don't know what you're talking about. So I get this southern lady that was like super strong accent. How you doing, Shug? You know, you want some peach iced tea? You know what I mean? Like that. I can't even do the accent, right? So this lady ends up fucking putting it all together, canceling everything out, pushing it through, and boom, boom, boom. And then she's like, this is what I want you to do. I was like, listen, another question. I'm going to Europe, so I kind of want to make sure I have this medicine, like, you know, with me in Europe, because it expires right in August, and like right September will I be there? Yeah. Like, she goes, yeah. So what you want to do in July? You want to call in mid-July? You want to give yourself plenty of time to figure this out, because it might take a long time for you to figure it out. So call in July, even though your re-up is not ready in July, so they know what's going on. So when August comes around last minute, you just call them and tell them to fill it up, so they can.
But you're only going to be able to do that for so long, and then you're going to have to switch to the other medicine anyways, right?
Yeah, so in August, I'm going to have to switch to the other medicine. But while I'm in a process, let me get my lick in as much as I can, right?
Okay.
So now I have to go. But the whole point is that it's like, you know, like some people know what's going on and some people have no fucking clue what's going on. And then you talk to a bunch of people and you start gathering information, putting it together. And then I call the pharmacy the second time, and pharmacist is like, yeah, it's not something going on. I was like, listen, let me ask you a straight question. Is not going through on a pharmacy on your side, or is the insurance playing games with me? He's like, no, it's not pharmacy. It's probably insurance playing games. It was insurance playing games. So when the lady calls the pharmacy, is like, well, pharmacy cannot fill it up either. I was like, listen, let me ask you a direct question. Is it the pharmacy themselves telling you no, or is it the insurance that you're doing is telling you no? Well, it's kind of both. Nah, it ain't both. If you send a script into the pharmacy, you approve it, they're filling it.
They'll tell you.
So it's definitely not the pharmacy, it's you guys. So like, just put me through. You know what I mean? So, but then I was like, listen, this was the reason why I told you I needed it for 3 months in the beginning of our conversation, so you don't do it 1 and then 2, so we don't run into these issues. So she realized that she made a mistake, so she pushes it through the manager, and manager was a nice person. She didn't throw the person under the bus, you know what I mean? But she fixed it.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is just, you know, they're just
so now that T-Mobile Fiber has their billing system under T-Mobile, it looks like their phone numbers have merged into one system as well. So when I called one of the days, like after Wednesday, it took me to T-Mobile's customer service, and I'm telling them I'm having a problem with my fiber internet, and the fucking the fucking Asian lady didn't understand that. She sends me over to like the normal data department for wireless, and then that person sends me to the billing department for wireless because I told them I was having billing. Bro, I was so pissed because it was so annoying. Like the first 2 days that I called, I would press 2, which was for internet for T-Mobile Fiber, and then it would do a ring, and fucking Brian would pick up. Like that's how simple it was. Yeah. Versus on Thursday when I call, okay, click this button, figure out okay, and then I get on the phone. Eventually, I had to just scream representative at the fucking computer to fucking get me someone. Then they send me the wrong person. Then they send me to the wrong person. Then that person finally gets me to the T-Mobile fiber department, but sends me to the wrong part. Like, bro, it was so fucking frustrating.
Like after so many days calling back and forth and trying to get what you need, like remembering what numbers to push, do you feel like after the second or third day you're a genius Elon Musk because you can like fucking figure out the system and like bypass all kinds of shit without like waiting on the phone too long? Do you feel that way? Sometimes I feel that way when I call something too much.
Yeah.
And then I kind of remember what buttons to push, what to say, how to shortcut. You know what I mean? To like eliminate.
I will say every time this motherfucker picked up the phone and said, "Hi, this is Brian with T Fiber," I fucking smiled, bro. Like, it was something different. Like it felt so good to get the person that I had already told the story to. Cause it's a long ass story. Yeah, on this day, you guys tried to charge me. Then on this day, I tried to fix it, but your system's down. Da, 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 da. Dude, it was so nice to be like, "Oh, Brian, it's Eddie." And he'd be like,
now on the other hand,
and like, "Yeah, I'm having the billing issues." And he goes, "Oh, I've got so many customers having that issue, but yeah, I remember this." Yeah, he remembered like off rip.
Hand, his head every time he said Eddie, he's like, "Oh, this motherfucker."
Yeah,
I know. I know for a fact.
He's kicking the fucking file cabinet, you know, at the desk, you know.
But at the same time, I even told him, I said, "Bro, I was hoping to get one of your coworkers so I didn't have to bother you." And he goes, "No, I'm actually happy it was me, so we can get this fixed correctly."
Do you think when they
is when he told me that is when I was like, he gets a review. I know that's PR training, but he didn't have to say that.
But do you think like that they switch the systems? Do you think Brian still has a job? Do you think they're gonna like move him to a different like?
No, after they switch the system, I still talk to Brian. He's still there.
Yeah,
it better be.
Yeah,
I have a fucking problem. Every time I call Team Fiber, I'm calling.
You know what's gonna happen? Because that job is not the best. So Brian probably gonna be there another for 3 to 4 months. Either find a new job or they're gonna like promote him, so you're no longer gonna get Brian anymore.
I don't know about
like,
that.
There's a limit on it.
We got Natalia
what's up?
In the chat.
What's up, Natalie?
Oh shit! One of our chat moderators is back. They've been lost. Yeah. Where you been, Natalie?
I saw her the other day for the first time in a long time.
Can I call her Nutella Net?
Nutella Net. I don't know. That's up to you, and that's between you and her, big dog.
Nutella Net. Natalia, not Nutella.
I don't know. Like with those kind of guys, I don't necessarily agree with like they won't be there for long. I know people that have had like customer service jobs like over like that for over the phone for years. Yeah, years.
Because I think like most people would like. I hate to say with aspirations, but most people anyway with at least with all the companies I've ever been, the attrition rate was about 8 months because what they would do, it was a starter job, right? Like it's just stepping stone. Finally got a new shift. Nice. Oh, okay. So you're not working at nights anymore. That's pretty cool. So they would just 8 months, and then they either get their licensing and move on, or change departments or quit. And
I know someone that not fresh out of high school, but after high school, they went and got it was I guess COVID time, so like probably like a year or two after high school. They got an at-home job with Humana, and they're still doing that today. And now they're a supervisor for Humana. Over the phone.
A good friend of ours works he works with Duke very very closely, and he's the head of the department where they go in and chop all those trees with those trucks and stuff. Like he's running the whole thing. You know who I'm talking about, right?
I think I don't know the name, but I've heard. I know
you know him very very well. He how do I not expose him?
You don't have to talk.
Let's just say that he's in a trucking business, and there's a family member.
I know who it is. Yeah, I remember now. I just had to associate.
Put it together.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so that's how he started.
I was so off put by that, knowing he had that job. I go, what? I thought he just did the trucks and stuff. He goes, no, it's bro. High position in Duke.
Very high position in Duke. Like he's making a decent coin doing that.
I remember Arthur was like, during the hurricanes, we got to hit him up because he told Arthur to hit him up during the hurricanes so we can get priority, which he did, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. He did hook it up.
Which helped us get, I think, power back faster.
But
I don't know, man. I've done customer service jobs, and I'm still doing technically a customer service. I did a lot of customer service today because I went out on a shoot and was doing talking videos, taking pictures of this customer's new facility, taking pictures of products. I actually did I didn't actually do a lot. I went over there with the goal to do a lot. We actually ended up doing very little technically. Customer services can be very satisfying, but most of the time it's pretty grueling.
Yeah,
in the
it is because you're dealing with like it's never to
it's the
call.
issues.
Yeah, it's never to
It's
call
all
to
the
say
issues.
something good. It's always to call to say something bad. You know.
And not only that, like let's say like when I worked at the phone thing or even now or whatever, like it can be satisfying to get someone, get their problem resolved and see them like be content
Happy,
and
whatever.
happy with what went down. But the majority of people
And it's usually a
approach
user error. You know what I mean?
it is
Majority of
usually
the time is
it's
user error or somebody trying to fucking get
appro-
something for free.
They approach customer service with entitlement, which is like the biggest fucking thing. Because they think you're like a cop that they pay their taxes. You work for me, kind of thing.
Gatekeeper. And
Yeah,
cop,
yeah.
You know?
Like, they think they think you're like being paid by taxpayer dollars or some shit.
Well,
and
they are technically paying your salary,
get
right?
the fuck out of here. They bought a $10 cable.
I mean,
What the fuck are you talking about?
And you give them information on 4 different other products that they're not even gonna buy.
Miguel knows what that's like in the computer section.
Well, I want to switch up the topic.
What's up?
Did y'all see what Ukraine did, bro?
No,
Straight out of Modern Warfare, bro.
amazing.
Straight out of the Modern
It was
Warfare.
amazing.
Can you pull up the
What is
video,
it?
bro?
What happened?
Ukraine pulled the biggest
just
Uno
say-
reverse, bro, like I've ever seen.
Let's just say they probably spent about $30,000 to destroy
Max,
about fucking
$6 or $7 billion worth of damage, bro.
They used 30 grand. They
Bro,
did
that's
$7 billion of
that's a
damage.
return on investment.
That's crazy ROI.
Bro, that's like every stock trader's dream, bro. You invest
30K,
30 to
7
get
billion?
60
or 6
or 6 billion, bro. $6 to $7 billion worth of damage, bro.
new images show burning planes at Russian
Bro, look
air
at this.
base
No,
after
put
massive
this is
retreat.
just one at a
I can't
time.
look up at the exact video that you've seen, Jay. But
No,
this is a
not the
compilation.
exact video. The one that's like showing from the
You'll
from
see
far.
different ones.
This
So
is a
I'll give
compilation
you
of
a little
different
bit-
views.
I'll give you a little bit of context as we go through these images. I don't want to show them because we're gonna get copyright violation.
Yeah, this is
but
NBC News. So.
these
Yeah,
are-
this
is
is
the
what you want to
TU
watch.
These are the Tu-85 bombers and Tu-90s, I believe.
Yeah, Russian bombers.
These are very expensive planes. It's hard to tell how much they are. They run about 20 million to 100 million depending on maintenance costs. And
Bro,
they
look at
were
this,
just
look at this.
Fucking destroyed with a bunch of drones
Yeah.
that were delivered by a Russian truck delivery driver over to a base. These drones were on top of the hinge, on top of like a little secret door that opened up.
Yeah, it's straight up
and-
Modern
and they
Warfare 2,
started,
bro.
Like beehiving out of that exploding
Trojan
rocket.
horse shit is what I
Yeah,
just heard.
yeah, bro.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
a Trojan horse.
yeah, like they literally,
Tu-95s.
yeah, they
Cruise
destroyed.
missile and nuclear capable, can reach the United States.
Go into
does
Zelensky's
they
tweet.
estimated?
Go on Zelensky's tweet. What he said.
Let's go on Twitter real quick.
Yeah. So
Or should I say X?
X. Yeah, bro. Zelensky is a troll, bro.
His
What he
stuff.
posted, like the shit that he said right after that happened.
Right now in the Sunni
Is this the
region.
one that you're talking about?
No,
I
no,
haven't
no.
seen
It's an actual tweet that he puts out. No, go back up. I think it could be one of the top ones. Like one of these.
The thing is, some of them are in fucking
Russian or
No, this-
Ukrainian, right?
Yeah. So basically, Zelensky came out and like they're in Turkey right now, with Putin in the midst of peace talks. Zelensky tweets.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Dude
They're
was
in the
about
midst
to-
of peace
dude
talks
was
right
about
now
to
in
have
Turkey.
peace talks.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And Zelensky pretty much like, this is a great win for Ukraine while they're in the midst of a peace talks, bro. So basically, Ukraine pulled the Palm Harbor with drones, bro. Now,
So here's the history of the tweets. After the conclusion of the Bucharest 9 and Nordic Countries Summit, let me put this so that people can read it as well. I spoke with journalists and shared some details of today's negotiations with the Russians in Istanbul, an unconditional ceasefire, the exchange of prisoners, the return of children, and importantly, the return, not exchange, of civilians. Then comes a leaders level meeting. As for a meeting of the leaders, the Russians believe that this can be worked on by the end of this month or early next month. As for ceasefire, they basically don't see it happening yet. According to the Russians, they're ready for a 2 to 3 day ceasefire just to collect their dead from the battlefield. I think idiots, because the whole point of the ceasefire is to stop people from becoming dead in the first place. So you see the mindset for them. It's just a short pause in the war.
Yeah,
And then the second
propaganda
tweet
bullshit.
is, in response to the journalist questions, I emphasized that yesterday, Ukraine carried out a brilliant operation planned and executed independently by our side. Ukraine is making it clear we are not going to surrender, and we will not accept any ultimatums. But we do not want war. We do not want to show our strength. We are forced to because the enemy refuses to stop. And when we do show our strength, we do it justly, striking military targets. We show it not only to the Russian aggressors, but also those of our allies who are once strong supporters but have started to waver. Trust in Ukrainians and belief in Ukraine has been restored. I believe the outcome of this operation is a very strong one.
So the point is this, right? Here's the caveat. Here's the question that I have. They're in ceasefire. They're pulling a Palm Harbor level operation,
Attack, yeah.
right? On top of that, he doubles down with this tweet, right? Russia has to look
At everything that comes in high alert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
things are crazy. So, do you think this is a sign for Russia to use a nuclear weapon?
That's what I was just thinking. Like,
You know what I'm saying? Because he got the red button ready to go.
fucking Putin's next tweet is just gonna be the nuke emoji.
It's gonna be like
How about the
wink emoji and then the bang. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, how about them drones, bitch?
Yeah. Yeah, so to me this is a little crazy what they've done, right? And a second question is, do you think Ukraine might have acted on their own? Do you think they might have gotten a green light from someone else to do this?
No.
Because Ukraine on their own,
It's a good conspiracy, but no. I think Ukraine did this solely by themselves. It's a great fucking operation. It was, I wouldn't call it a Pearl Harbor attack, but I would definitely, it has similarities to the Israel beeper strike that they did.
yeah. So, but Israel beeper strike. Israel has support of many countries, right? So many countries are okay with them doing this stuff. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this, right? So Ukraine, do you think just kind of executed this?
You think the rest of the world's not gonna be okay with Russia getting $7 billion worth of bombers getting blown up? The rest of
No. The rest. That's what I'm saying. The rest of the world is gonna be okay with that. But here's what makes me think that this might be more to it, because I think the head of CIA right now is there in Istanbul. They're having conversations with everyone.
You know that famous meme of the Ford versus Ferrari movie of the head nod that Enzo Ferrari gives the Ford driver at the top? That's what the rest of the world just did to Ukraine, just from the top of the crowd.
Yeah, yeah. Now this was a brilliant way for Ukraine to strike back. However, Russia has basically structured their entire economy. Before, people would make fun of him that it's a gas station acting like a country, right? Because number one export was the fuel, right? 70% of their economy came from fuel, 66 actually. But now, Russia literally like throws everything they're making into the war efforts, and he's been playing president for 20 years. You think Putin is just gonna give up his ego and is like, motherfuckers, you come in there for 4 years at a time. I've been here for 20 years. You think you're gonna pull a fast one? Do you think they're gonna double down on everything? I don't think Russia is stepping back, bro. After this, Russia is not stepping back.
No, I don't think so either. But I mean,
It's also kind of what Zelensky wants. They don't want them to step back. They want to continue this war until
Nat, put that link in a chat. We'll pull it up. There's a video how they set it up. But I think there's a little bit more to it. I think Zelensky was given a green light to do this because there's too many nations involved right now in these peace talks trying to calm these things down. And there's just too many people are involved within this war. There's a lot of money that's being made. You know what I mean? Like, with this war, it's on both sides. Like,
yeah, but but with what you're saying, right? He already came out and said that they did it independently. That's what he said.
He's gonna have to.
That's
say
what he
that.
said,
Yeah.
right? But if they already came out and said that they did that independently, we're not gonna hear.
Correct. We're not gonna figure out. But if, let's say, United States was involved, let's say the CIA director was involved in this without Trump knowing or Trump knowing. So if Trump knows, that means Trump is now in a proxy war with Russia. If Trump knows. If Trump doesn't know, then he's got a bigger problem in his cabinet with the CIA director, right? It granted if United States knew, if United States was the one that gave the green light. Now, if this was the European countries that gave the green
they
light,
released the how-to video.
pretty much.
No.
What is this?
Yeah, pretty much.
This is how they did it right here.
So a how-to video.
Well, no, not a how-to. No. I'm just showing you. This is just a picture.
Okay, it's just a picture. Okay.
Not, they didn't. No.
I thought this is a full-on walk-around video.
I'm sure ChatGPT could wrap up something for you, but
yeah.
These are the containers, right? But notice that it's like a trap door. Like the actual containers at the bottom, these are just like superficial, hidden.
Yeah.
But somebody had to go in there and physically lift them off and let these drones out, right?
I'm sure no.
They had a hatch that opened up automatically.
Yeah, remotely more than likely. Nobody was gonna be there.
It kind of just like explodes, I think, or opens up. I'm not sure if it explodes, but it definitely opens up.
But see, what's that on the ground?
The panels, it looks like.
The panels,
the
but
panels
who took them off?
Huh?
The panels in front.
They're right there on the ground.
Who took them off?
They probably exploded, honestly, or
Exploded and it fell like that? There's no explosion marks or any of that.
Well, all we know is that it happened, brother.
No, I know that. So this was clearly like smuggled in. Maybe the driver was on it, in on it, and like there had to be some help. They couldn't just driven the truck in there without this, because Russia's at war, right? Like they're looking at these type of things, right?
Well, that's the whole strategy behind it, right?
Yeah.
Is getting it there. That's the biggest thing, I'm sure.
So these were dropped off at a military base.
That's what I'm saying,
So,
bro.
yeah.
Like
So
there was
what-
like a deep
what had
operation
happened-
about
what
this.
What had happened was they probably definitely had somebody near the air base or whatever.
That was on it.
And
I don't
then-
think the person anyone that had to do anything with it was gonna be there.
Yo,
You know what I mean?
We're asking all these
That
questions.
sounds too risky.
Imagine how Russia feels right now. They're fucking questioning things like tenfold. Like
Yeah.
Oh, they've already got way more answers than we.
Yeah,
I'm
for
sure they already figured it out.
they probably
I'm sure they've already
figured
figured it
like
out
10
how they
minutes.
did it.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
this is gonna come. This is gonna unfold within the next couple of weeks. We'll know what they want us to know, right? But on another subject. So I think this was a brilliant move. That reminds me of Modern Warfare 2. I'm kind of happy about this. Like props to you, Ukraine, like for doing this right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now repercussions, right? What was going to be the repercussions? That's a bigger question. Now to shift this gear. So what's his name? The director of FBI, the new guy, you know what I'm talking about? Dan Bongino and him are basically like reviewing the Epstein files and everything, and trying to figure out if
About TJ?
Epstein, huh? Yeah, if Epstein basically killed himself, and Bongino was given an interview, and he basically alluded that there might be a video, not the video of him like killing himself, like offing himself, but a video where it shows like Epstein is the only one that's entering and exiting. You know what I mean? So there's nobody else. There's no foul play basically, and so they're saying that
This is the
Epstein
video
did it
that
himself.
Matt
Nobody offed him.
sent right here.
Yeah. So like, see, they're already like. Yeah. See, like this comes off like, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of moving parts, a lot of heavy moving parts.
Battery charging stations. So so the entire container was set up for this only. It wasn't like a container that was holding.
That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to tell you. How did this
built-in
truck...
signal shielding, so like they could keep it from being detected.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like these are empty trucks. What did they mask them as? With batteries in the back? Like, what are you
Exactly.
bringing in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There had to be some people
Well,
involved.
I thought the containers would have been full of like normal shit.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, been the drones.
Yeah, like how would Sinaloa do it? You know what I mean? But
Exactly,
This was not
you
a
gotta
Sinaloa. This was like an actual operation. You know,
you
like
got to
a
put the
military
car
operation.
radios in front of the Coke. You know?
Yeah, yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But how did it slide open? Is it saying, Miguel? Is it saying? in the
Yeah,
video?
I know, Alex,
I don't
what you're
have
saying.
audio.
You're right.
Gotcha.
They've been, but at
Gotcha,
the end of
gotcha.
the day, Ukraine is still losing the war because they need money, and the United States is not giving them money anymore. So they're still losing the war. Yes, they did a nice strike, but at the end of the day, winning a battle doesn't mean you won the war, right? So
They destroyed all 6 or 7 aircrafts they had there.
whatever they had there, they basically
If I
like fucking
remember
put them
correctly,
on
it was
fire.
40 aircraft.
40.
Yeah, they fucking $6 billion worth of damage, bro. Each one is like, let's say 20 million.
They said
a pop.
between 20. He said between 30 and 100, depending.
Each one. So at 2 billion, you're looking at what? Even if it's 100, that's
40.
20 planes, right? So
Yeah.
40 of them destroyed, bro. Like that's big. That's big time. So $7 billion. Yeah, it was like a little more of a 34% of Russian bombers, bro.
How do you think
about this?
How do you think Russian kids will learn this history?
They're just like North Korea, learns about their history. You know what I mean? Because you have to understand there's propaganda on both sides, right? Like both sides. Like
Putin
the world
doesn't shit
kind of
either?
knows. The world kind of knows what's going on, but like the propaganda is on both sides, right?
There's one thing though that's for sure now. They definitely cannot compete with the U.S. Not in the Air Force.
They can. Russia could never compete with the U.S. The first week of their war showed that Russia was like this big bad wolf that we're always worried about. But the first 2 weeks showed that Russia ain't got nothing.
But to be fair, like initially, if you like started putting into perspective and you started comparing, the Russians did have newer generation fighters compared to us.
They did.
But that's kind of obsolete now because they only have a few compared to just their fucking fleet.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus also you have to remember the U.S. That's what they tell you they have.
Yeah. Plus we have the Abrams tank that no one can basically compete with. Then we have the carriers, the military, the plane carriers that no one can compete with.
That's a bit too much to say though, because the Abrams are good at what they do, but they're being utilized in different ways that they're not meant to be used. They're not meant to really be going against these heavy Russian tanks that are just complete fucking, firepower. They're not.
Yeah, but the Abraham is so fast. You ever seen Abraham tank move, bro? They're so freaking fast. They turn on a dime. They fucking pick up speed literally like an electric car.
You can't outrun that fucking shell though.
I mean, they keep saying that Abraham's tank can put a fight against these Russian.
Yes, they can for sure put a fight, but it's not even like a fair fight.
The bottom line is that Russia within the first 2 weeks they demonstrated that United States will still fucking walk all over him. It's like
putting Bulk against John Jones. Like, could he probably put up a good fight? Sure, but John Jones is a heavyweight. There's classes.
Yeah. On another news, France is basically saying that by year 2030, they want to completely replace their military with robots. Robot military. So that's going to be interesting.
This also sounds like GM's fucking promise to make all electric by 2030, which
and not happening.
Yeah, not happening. They've already said it's not happening.
Oh, fucking Elon came on an interview, and they asked him about the big beautiful bill. It's the best one, and he's like, I was kind of disappointed. He goes, when I saw that budget, he goes, the country's gonna go into more deficit with that budget. He goes like, this was not the idea of Doge was supposed to come in and cut a bunch of it.
Yeah.
But like Trump apparently on his clown shit, like on his clown spending shit, you know what I mean? So like if they actually followed what Doge would intended, they would actually make some money back. But on the other hand, this past month, because of the tariffs, they went from like I think 6 to 8% to 25% of collecting money because of the tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
So the tariffs actually did add a little bit to us. But anyway, like the world is in a fucking shambles, basically. We're teetering on the side of a fucking nuclear war maybe in Europe, which sucks because if they hit him with a nuclear weapon, right? It's not just Ukraine, bro. It's Belarus, it's Slovakia, it's every single country nearby is going to suffer. Like Bulgaria, all of these countries are going to suffer, and they're going to suffer bad. And then 7 days later, that nuclear waste is going to, wherever wind goes, that's where that's going to go.
It's a weird, like, we're so used to in America being closed off to a lot of these, like, tragedies happening around the world sometimes.
We're so far from it.
Not only that, no one comes here. No one dares come on our fucking soil.
We got
last time someone dared come on our fucking soil, we hunted them down for 12 years and shot them in the head.
Yeah.
we got vengeance, bro. I actually we were talking about this for the pod. I just watched the Bin Laden documentary that Netflix did. I thought it was good. I mean, I never like put myself to learn about it in other methods besides what they taught us like in school growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting. It was interesting to see, like, bro, they chased him for so fucking long. It was a chick
head of the department. It was this lady that was the head of the department. Of course, she wasn't the one that found him. Her department was the one that found him.
There's a lot of people around finding him. A lot of people dedicated a lot of fucking time.
And what works for United States really, really well, bro. We're waterlocked. There's no one. What is Canada and Mexico gonna do? Ain't gonna do shit. You know what I mean? Canada are pacifists. Mexico is too small. You know what I mean? Like no one can approach us. Like they have to approach us, and to approach us, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. By the time you get half of the Atlantic Ocean, we're already sending rockets over it. You know what I mean?
Natural boundary of the Second Amendment, bro.
Yeah. Well, but you know what is
nature and firearms will protect us, baby.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do with the Second Amendment? Let's say they cross the barrier of the nature, right?
Do anything. There's a bunch of
So,
redneck
like,
hillbillies around me.
Yeah, but like if they're sending drones, what are you gonna do with the Second Amendment?
Drones
are you
is
gonna go out there with
different,
your pew and try to knock them
They're
down?
about to shoot the fuck out of them drones. That's target practice. Bring out the skeeters, bro.
Yeah, I mean, remember the Chinese weather balloons.
I'm gonna have about a dozen hillbillies located on that hill with 30-30s.
Yeah, but
we're gonna hide them in the bushes, and when the ducks quack, you know what to do, boys.
you remember the Chinese weather balloon thing? Like
Yeah.
those weather balloons went through and nobody shut them down. They were all over us. Like, who's to say like these weather balloons not going to carry drones? You know what I mean?
The U.S. said they had that. As soon as the U.S. says we are under attack.
Yeah,
Hillbillies
getting on them horses, bro, and on their tractors, and they're going up in the woods. Yeah.
They're done.
Yeah, no, but I think the modern warfare has shifted from the pew pew. You know what I mean? It has shifted.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, you know, the drone thing we're seeing with Ukraine, and just it's all, you know, flight based warfare, bro. Right now, whether it's manned or unmanned.
Yep.
Dude, once they give you one of those,
it just makes sense.
It does.
It's
you guys
efficient.
know that speech that
it works. Like
yeah, you only put the grunts in there when they have to clean up the territory. You know what I mean? Like aftermath. What they did with basically 7 days of bombing in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then they went in, even though Afghanistan they couldn't win because no one has ever been able to conquer Afghanistan. Motherfuckers hide in those little holes in a mountain, and there's like unlimited supply of people that are willing to die.
When I was watching
have you guys seen this speech?
No.
This guy is
recap it.
Tense. Once we get this message, it's over for whoever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me unmute real quick.
What is it? Is it 1-star general? What is it? Admiral?
This is Medal of Honor recipient. Wait.
No audio. Yeah.
And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea. They may be watching this right now. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
That is hard.
That is
hard. Someone else will raise your son and daughters.
That is very hard, but I have to be the guy that like puts the mood down on this, right? Remember
do you?
Yeah, I have to be because
I had to ask, do you?
Yeah, I have to be because remember we had Vietnam and then we had Iraq, and what happened after the Vietnam, after those body bags, after those caskets started coming back, people went out there and they wanted ceasefire. That's why we lost Vietnam War, because we pretty much pulled out. It's not about the military. Our military is capable. It's the sentiment of people and politicians. If they want to get reelected, they are going to pull back. You know what I mean?
That is true.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's holding us back. Our military is a very well-oiled machine. Whatever he said is 100% correct. Like we could literally like take over the world and nobody can stand against us. Only at this point, there's only one, is the China, but we don't know what their warfare capabilities are because they haven't been in a war in a very, very long time, right? They're doing their parades, but they haven't been in a war. But United States, in my opinion, could take over the world if they tried. Now, unless there's a bunch of people congregating together, and then it's a different story. But individually, each country would take them down. The problem is when our soldiers come back home dead or come back home with blown legs and arms, that's when people's sentiment goes down. And same thing happened in Afghanistan, same thing happened in Iraq, same thing happened in Vietnam. No one wants that. You know, no one wants
That's
that.
True. But like you said, it's not like we want it. Just know that we've been to war. We've seen what war is. You don't want that shit.
Yeah, we were trying to talk about this a little bit before the pod, which was the Osama bin Laden version of this when he did his interview in the late 90s. It was weird. Miguel was trying to mention this basically, like when the journalist went to do the interview with him, they told him there will be no live translating. He said, well, there's no life. How am I going to understand what he's saying? You won't. Okay. Well, how I ask follow-up questions? You won't. Right. So he wasn't allowed to ask follow-up questions. He had a set list of questions ready. He asked them, they answered them, and he left. Right. Kind of thing. When they got back and translated it, it was basically just, the gist of it was, we want you, your women, and your children to all be scared, and we will be coming.
Yeah.
Right.
That's their thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You infidels.
Yeah. That's the thing. So the thing about Osama was that the reason he was in Afghanistan, because he's from Saudi Arabia. He grew up in like a very wealthy family. His dad had a bunch of money. But because he was going to radical, Saudis basically kicked him out of Saudi Arabia and eliminated. They took his citizenship away. So he had to settle in Afghanistan. That was the only place he could settle in. But Osama was a United States product. Back in the day, they were really tight with the Clintons. So what in 70s when we had that war, the proxy war with Russia in Afghanistan, and we ended up winning that war because we're supplying the Afghan side, and the Afghans ended up winning the war against Russia, right? So what happened was we basically trained every single one of those soldiers, right? So it was our product. Osama was our product. And then just with everything else, they start getting a little bit of money and they're getting radicalized. Oh, you're killing our brothers in this country. You're killing our brothers in the other country. Like, for example, right now, what's going on with Houthis, right? Like Houthis attacking the boats and stuff like that. Like one of the Israeli ports had to shut down because like they're just under attack with Houthis, right? Like if you ask the Houthis, they're like, or people that are like all about it, right? Like they're like, well, I understand why they're doing that, right? Like because they're trying to, basically you're attacking all the Islam nations, we're just retaliating, right? But if you ask our side, like, nah, you're fucking terrorists, you're going after like boats and shit, you know what I mean? So these people, they're so radical, man. Like what happens, they start making a little bit of money because the poppy fields were a big thing, hashish was a big thing, like, opioids were a big thing, and they started making a lot of money, right? When they get a lot of money, it's like, you can't control me, I got money now. You know what I mean? I can build my own little army. And that's what happened with Osama. He pretty much wouldn't listen anymore, right? So then we're like, hold my beer. You know what I mean? That's when we...
Actually, he said, hold my beer.
Yeah, he said, hold my beer. Yeah.
He said, hold my beer for 10 years.
Yeah,
sadly.
after the attacks, and the attacks happened because we knew that these attacks are going to happen.
There was a lot
There's
of
conspiracy theories that it was... We knew about it, and they wanted these attacks to happen because we wanted the war.
I think we knew about the threats. We just didn't believe.
Well, not only that, they were saying that there was a lot of things where, like, a day before these attacks or a week before these attacks, the guy that owned the building took out an insurance policy against terrorist attacks. This never been done, but he suddenly takes an insurance policy against terrorist attack. Specifically, that type of plane flying into the building attack. You know what I mean? All of this doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So there's a lot of chatter that this was actually organized by us. That's why a lot of this was like kind of like shoved under the rug for it to happen, so we can continue going. So I don't know, man. I think there's like a lot of things we don't know, and kind of like what's happening with. Can you pull up who's the director of FBI? I'm like bringing it full circle back. Dan Bongino and him basically go in. Yeah, this Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, like they didn't know what it is. Everybody's like rah until they get to the position. Once they get to the position, they're showing them videos and they're like, if you do this, this is gonna happen. If you do this, this is gonna happen. So now they have to like pick their words and only reveal certain type of information, this and that. Bro, it's been several years. They're still looking over Epstein files. You know what's the funny part? Ghislaine, whatever her name is, Maxwell. She's in prison right now. Why don't you ask her? She was his right hand woman. Like, ask her. She knows everything. Why aren't we fucking talking to her? And you're looking over these files for how long now?
Senator Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just like,
learning about that was very weird too.
Yeah, like it's like, they're all giving us the runaround, and I believe that there's some things that they cannot reveal to the public. If they did reveal these things to the public would lose belief and sentiment and trust in a government.
She looked like a cold-hearted bitch.
Well, I mean, she was also, she like, it's kind of like the lady that runs the whorehouse, right? Because she was a whore back in the day, so now she runs the whorehouse, and she kind of like treats these girls like the pimps do. You know what I mean? Because she kind of like went through it. it's
Gorilla DeVille.
Yeah.
That's your comparison, Mickey?
Yep.
yeah. So
She look like Gorilla.
yeah. So I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of things we don't know, and if it's actually better if we don't know. I mean, I want to know, but then what? Okay, I found out this information, and now what? What am I gonna fucking do with that information? You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. Okay, you found out, you know what it is, you think something's gonna change. There's too many rich uncles with a lot of money that they would not want this to change. You know what I mean? This is why I'm like, a lot of people, like the other day, I saw this lady in a gym had a 25-pound weight, and she's like doing this little tactical moving around and like, you know, turning with this 25, like she's holding a weapon. And in my head, I'm like, lady, what are you preparing for?
At the gym?
At the gym. I'm like, what the fuck are you preparing for? Like a zombie apocalypse? Like, what are you honestly preparing for? Unless there's some sort of a solar event that we cannot control and knocks out all our electricity and all of the computers and equipment, where like everybody's taxes go to shit, everybody's debt goes to shit, you know what I mean? Like, unless that type of an event, like, there's not going to be some sort of a nuclear war where you need to fucking carry that weapon. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. There's too many rich people with a lot of money. Can you imagine if the computers went down and they all lost their billions of dollars? Now suddenly you, like 90 years old, no longer fucking matter. You say something, somebody at 20 years old slaps you in the face because you said something wrong. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Damn, bro, that shit would be a crazy ego check for a lot of these motherfuckers.
Yes, that would be a big ego check. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
That
these
would be
type of
funny.
events most likely would not happen because the amount of money and control that some of the rich have.
That reminds actually, I saw this video. It looked like from a show or a TV show or movie or something like that. Anyways, plane crashes. It was a shipwrecks on an island, and it was like a group of people and this little Asian lady, and she catches an octopus and then cleans it, cooks it, and then she's like, one piece, one piece, one piece, one piece. All right, and the rest is mine. And the lady goes, what the fuck? Then she goes, I caught it, I cooked it, I cleaned it, you guys sat there. And the lady tries telling her, like, but you're just the maid on the ship. And it's like, tries basically like giving position over her. And she goes, on ship I'm maid, on this island I'm captain. And she looks around, and all the guys, she asks all the men in a circle, who am I? Captain. She throws one piece of octopus. Who am I? Captain. Throws a piece of octopus. That's what it'll be like. You know?
Yeah,
You got
that's
Hillbilly
exactly-
being captain now because he knows how to use a gun.
Yes, that's literally what would happen, and that's what I'm saying. Like, these people that are like doomsday preppers and they have their bunkers and shit. Okay, great, you have this fucking $200,000 bunker that you have with your like preserved pickles and shit in there that you can eat and then get out of it. What are you gonna do? Especially the ones that fucking didn't have bunkers, that had to
Have you seen
fight the elements and shit. Now, you think you're gonna go against these fucking people? Like, these people are gonna be savages. They're gonna fucking cut your head off to destroy your family and take all your fucking pickles.
You're stinky.
Have you played the Fallout? You know what Fallout? You've
Yeah,
seen
I
the
know
show.
exactly what
You
Fallout
watched the
is,
show,
yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah, of course.
What would be your decision? Would you stay above or go under?
Bro, like, if it's like a nuclear event where it's actually gonna affect my health and health of my family, I would go under, clearly. Now, if there was no nuclear event, I would rather deal with the elements because it would just harden you. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be either you survive or you die, and if you survive, then nothing else matters, right? Like,
But that brings the likelihood of your family or whatever surviving way down still.
correct. So it would be like, kind of like, you know, the Walking Dead, you know what I mean, type of scenario where you got Negan, even though like he was a math teacher, now he's this like ruthless motherfucking killer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it would just be that type of scenario. But again, majority of people that think, like, let's say it's a zombie apocalypse, right, or whatever, majority of people think they're gonna survive.
One in
Fuck no.
100.
Fuck no. Yeah, 90% of you gonna fucking die.
Yeah,
And guess-
99.
Yeah, 99
I
gonna
think
die.
1 in 100.
Yeah, and 50% of them gonna be shot by a fucking friendly fire because somebody doesn't know how to load a proper weapon. You know what I mean? That's how you're gonna go, because your neighbor didn't know how to load a weapon and the bullet came through the wall. You know what I mean?
Know, man. I feel like if there is a fucking zombie apocalypse and everybody just starts going, it is what it is, bro. It's time to go.
It is what it is.
I'm going out fighting, taking out
that's
a
what
couple
I'm saying.
zombies or taking myself out. I'm done.
Yeah, at that point you go out with the music, bro. You just take up the weapons and you go
Bring
fucking.
some fireworks.
Yeah, you go just straight forward, and then like if you got some strategic thinking about it, I don't. Anybody that went to a military school that has some sort of strategic thinking about this, like, you would probably try to align yourself.
I mean, you don't
with
necessarily
them.
have to be going to like a military school. Like, think about it, right? Us here in St. Pete, we're pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Right? We're not. We're. It's very hard to get back to like mainland. As
Yes.
you'd call it, right? But that would probably be your goal, right? We have so much like rural area in the center of Florida that you could go and not find anyone.
And take those little side streets and little side roads and things like that.
That
Stay
would
away.
probably be the best place to go. Like staying here in St. Pete would not be the way.
Nah.
Hell no. Hell no. Way too populated in a small area. You got no space that's not gonna have people for a mile that way and a mile that way.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
and everybody's gonna be fighting over the same convenience store fucking mac and cheese. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes no sense.
yeah, go out to Ocala, find a little land that got
Find
no
your
one
little
on
cow that you can milk. You know what I'm saying? You just
plant some tomatoes.
yeah, but then you're gonna have to fight the rednecks. So I don't know what's better.
But the rednecks,
you know what I'm saying? Because rednecks ain't gonna give up that shit. That
you gotta
easily.
find one of the vacation homes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the house just sits there.
And then
all
with the
year.
goal of going to Tennessee into the woods.
No, you stay. Why would you do that? You just stay in Florida.
Yeah, but it,
You don't have to deal with the cold.
yeah, but Tennessee's not that bad, even in the winter. It's not
It
that
can
bad.
get cold.
Yeah, but
can get cold
I mean,
as
a little
fuck.
little coat would take care of it. There's plenty of wood out there. You know what I mean?
No, bro, it's gonna get cold as fuck. That's the biggest issue. Like with going to those areas is the cold.
Yeah.
Dealing with the cold during the winter, surviving that with no electricity. And
Because we're not designed for it. Because
No.
we're just so lucky to be where we are right now. Like life is so easy for us right now. It's just so easy. Like with all the electricity, running water,
Yeah.
and all this conveniences, modern conveniences, bro. Half of us wouldn't fucking survive past
it's like,
the
oh,
day.
I'm thirsty. All right, let me go to the sink and my fancy ass filter fill up my cup.
Yeah, yeah,
Where it's
yeah.
like, oh, I'm thirsty. Oh, the creek's about 3 miles that
Yeah,
way, bro.
and there was a fucking and there's a dead deer 1 mile up the creek. Now you're drinking that water, and now you're fucked because you got all that bacteria in you, and you're dead.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Like some of these people that like go into these doomsday preppers and all that shit, man. To me, that's a little funny. You know what I mean?
To me, it sounds like those people are like, I want to buy a gun to protect myself.
Yeah, no,
and
you
then
ain't
I leave the
protecting
gun.
shit.
And then I leave the gun at home.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like, bro, you only have like a small percentage of chance. Not small, but like a percentage of chance that you're gonna be at home when this happens with enough warning to get into your base and all this shit. Bro, you're at the convenience store.
and
you're
most of the
fucked.
time that shit's in a safe. You know what I mean? Because they got kids. Like it makes no fucking sense. Like if you get in a weapon because you like to go out there with your friends and shoot and have fun, and that's the whole point of it. Okay, I get it. But the one, I'm gonna protect myself. Yeah, no, you're not. Most people get shot by their own weapon. You know what I mean?
I think it's sad too. The people that go and like purchase firearms are fully mentally okay. Like they have no mental issues, right? There's someone that is allowed. Let's say you're allowed to own a firearm, but then you go and buy one with no knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
Well,
Like-
that's where it comes. Like you have to go in and you shoot. You understand.
But
your
like I
weapon.
recently saw someone picking up a firearm from a store, and when they asked them, "Do you want range rounds and defense round?" They said, "What?"
Yeah.
I said, oh, "Come on, you don't know what that. You don't know the difference of and what this means. You don't even know what you're supposed to be carrying."
Yeah. Well, I guess the store should be also better at explaining this instead of asking you want range rounds or this and be like, listen, you want me to
because
explain to you what are the differences between rounds?
Fuck no. You going into the store to buy a gun, you should know.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
The job of the store isn't to educate you; it's to sell you the gun.
No, the job. I
No,
think
no,
anyone
no, no,
running
no.
a store like that.
We would hope so, right? That we would hope.
That's what
the
I'm saying,
scenario.
yeah.
But that's not how it works. The
No,
job of the
yeah.
store is not to educate you.
No, I agree.
So, it's sad to see some people going and making purchases like that, potentially end very badly.
Yeah.
due to lack of
Most people
education.
that don't know, they'll ask. They'll ask shit ton of questions. They want to
Bro,
know.
people nowadays don't ask because they're fucking shy.
Yes,
That
it's
shit
all
is
because of the
so-
COVID, bro.
No, I don't think it's only COVID. I don't.
It's-
I think part of it may be COVID, yes, but I think also part of it is like just the lack of like the interaction in person and stuff. The
Yeah,
social
yeah,
media.
yeah.
That shit's getting so bad. Like, I know people that let's say you receive your order like completely fucked up. Like sometimes I'll just say, "Oh, that looks good still. Fuck it, now eat it." Right. But I know how to speak up, and a lot of people will speak up about this shit. Other people won't just because they're so scared.
Mm.
Versus, like, sometimes if I don't speak up, it's because I don't want to bother.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't want to
usually.
bother. It's not that I'm scared. Some people won't say anything because they're scared. They just
Yeah.
don't know. They think fucking Medusa's going to come out and freeze them in stone if they start talking to someone that they don't know.
I think we talked about this in one of the podcasts, man. I realized that in one of the stores for a while. I was like, why are these young people, like, why are they being rude? Why are they not, like, saying at least like
They're just so
going.
scared.
I'm like, how you doing? And then, like you're not even saying good or acknowledging that I asked the question. And then I realized that these people have fucking straight up anxiety. They have anxiety to talk to you because they don't like this is foreign to them. They never really dealt with it.
And back in the day, you know, it's funny you say that. You think that they're just being assholes. Because back in the day, that's how it was, right?
Yeah.
So you went and you looked at someone, oh, what's up, man? How you doing? You went past them, and they fucking just dead stared you and let you keep walking. And you know in your back of your head, oh, that guy's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it was back in the day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Versus now, it's like, oh, that guy just doesn't even know how to speak.
Yeah.
Like,
Because they're really good at
talking to a fucking stranger.
Yeah, they're really good at texting and stuff like that. But because they're so good at texting, they don't have that like human connection. Because right now, most people rather receive a text message than a phone call. To me, that's annoying, bro. If I'm trying to tell you something, I'd rather call you because it takes 30 seconds.
It just depends on what you got to get across. Earlier, I had to tell Cam to fucking call me because it was just too much information.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because it's much easier to just tell him that in 30 seconds versus like half a day text messages.
I'm a little bit of an in-betweener. I prefer the instant contact of a phone call. I prefer the uninterruption that is a text. Like when I'm doing something and I don't want to be interrupted, I hate receiving a phone call.
Well, here's the thing. If you have to be somewhere at a certain time and you don't know what time, I'd be texting you, hey, be there at 8 o'clock. Done deal. You don't need any more information. But now, if I need, hey, Eddie, how do I edit this video? And I'm texting you about this, no. That's fucking dumb. You know what I mean?
There's definitely certain things that it's like, can I just call you, bro?
Yeah, it's so much easier. So much easier.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. All right, well, how long are we going here, Miggy? We good? All right, we'll wrap it up for today, guys.
Oh, guys, before we wrap it up, heads up, we got a guest this Thursday.
Yes.
Pretty big guest. It's probably one of the biggest guests we've ever had. It's literally the biggest guest we've ever had.
Don't fucking say that.
The biggest guest, size-wise and following-wise. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, guys, yeah, stay tuned for that. Please like, subscribe. The many of you show up, the better it is.
We appreciate you guys in the chat today interacting with us. We didn't look too much about it, but we'll check over it. And if there's anything interesting, we'll talk to you guys. But yeah, we're going to end the episode for today, boys, and we'll catch you guys on Thursday.
And a girl. There's at least one girl in there.
Yes, and Natalie. She's one of the boys, though.
Nah, she's still a girl, though. She's the boys, but she's still a girl.
You don't understand that. Natalie is one of the boys, bro. She will whoop your ass in Call of Duty. That makes her one of the boys.
She's just good at Call of Duty.
All right, guys. Y'all, we'll see you on Thursday. Make sure to tune in. Like Jay said, we got a great guest coming in. So, yeah. Peace. That's a good part, boys.
Does not.